Welcome back, people, to Yashko's Knives, Part 3. At this point, we're totally through quench and temper. What I didn't share with you in any of these videos is the stamping of my maker's mark, or obviously the quenching or tempering. Maybe those things can be video features in the future. I'm going to have a new stamp coming, so maybe we'll feature the first use there. Here I am centering handles so that I have some reference for, either grinding them parallel or tapering them. A line can really help with that. The file guide there is to help me make sure that I don't grind forward of the handle really at all, but also so that I grind it evenly from side to side. And I don't want to grind into the bolster guard area, which I left a forged finish, and I don't want to grind into that either. Once I got all of that taken care of, I got into the blade. I started at 36. Now I'm on 120, and I'm just trying to thin it out, get it where it's going to perform. I've got some irregularities I'm also struggling with a little bit. I've got a little bit of a thin spot, and I'm trying to work around it. I've got a pretty dramatic taper on the spine, and then I'm trying to reconcile that with a uniform and parallel edge. So there can be a little tricky. And now I'm doing some final cleanup at 120, getting into, onto the spine, into the sharpening choil, inside the handle, just bumping all that up to 120. And the last thing I'll do is Scotch-Brite before I get to hand sanding. Usually I'm able to grind a little further. I'll go 220 and then I'll Scotch-Brite and then start hand sanding at 220. Instead, I'm going to do that at 120. I prefer to do less hand sanding, but like I said, I was struggling with that thin spot, and I kind of know why it happens, and I can usually manage it, but it was just getting away from me, and I just thought, I really don't want to screw this up now. I mean, I'm documenting the process. I've got, someone's waiting for this. I've got a deadline. I don't want to have to start over. And I had the concern that if I kept chasing it, it was gonna go bad. It was gonna get too thin, or I was gonna, burn something, or burn the edge, or like, who knows? It's not worth it. So I pulled off and I started hand sanding early and a little bit of a lower grit than I normally do, but it worked out. I think it was like an hour and 40 minutes of hand sanding, something like that, which it's all right. I know everyone hates hand sanding. On top of that, I'm gonna wake up with sore, swollen hands, and I'm gonna have to go to work and get through the day with sore, swollen hands. And every day that I push through the day and work with sore, swollen hands, it's it's that much longer before I heal or feel better. But it's fine. I mean, I'm committed to the quality of the work, and usually it's not too bad. So, but it's part of the deal. So, anyways, we're cruising. I'm going up to 400. That's my, after my sad story about my poor hands, that's my compromise. That's as far as I'm willing to push, and I'm pretty happy with it for the most part. Sometimes I'll go up to 6. But again, if I get all the way up to 220 and a Scotch-Brite before I start at 220, and I'm only going up to 400, I'm only doing 2 grits. And it works pretty well for me. I'm usually pretty happy with it. Not a lot to say about this. It's just hand sanding. Some of this stuff, some of the grinding, hand sanding, I'm trying to include a lot in one video, so I feel the need to gloss over it, hit that 20 times speed and just push through this. I want to show it, but I don't know if it's worth lingering on. But perhaps if there's interest someday, I can do shorter pieces that really focus more on one or the other of these aspects. Anyways, at the end, I'm pretty happy with it, so we should be ready for handling in the near future. Thanks for checking me out.